fundamentals about this weekend, about the divisional round, and what we can expect and what that's like. So I will let you take it away.
Yeah, we really haven't done it all year, but I figured this was a good time to kind of do kind of a preview of the upcoming games. And first of all is the Commanders, and they'll be playing the Lions. Lions are the number one seed. And look, the Commanders absolutely have a chance. Jaden Daniels
Yeah.
has had an incredible season, not just for a rookie, but just for any quarterback. He's had a fantastic season. He's a special player. Look, next year is next year, but I'll just say everyone will take this whole offseason to dissect him and come up with a game plan. Uh, and so we'll see if he regresses and has kind of a step back, or if he continues to improve. It'd be hard to stay on the trajectory he's been on. But basically, for them to have a chance, he has to be special again, just like he's been all year. He's stepped up to every challenge. The thing about the Washington, they have kind of a ball control offense, but they don't do it with the run necessarily. They do it with the passing game. And so I don't think Detroit wants to allow them to go 12 plays, not, 7, 8, 10 minutes plus off the clock so they can shorten the game.
Yeah.
I think the Lions, in order to win, are going to have to force the action. Now, here's the danger. And by forcing the action, I mean they're going to have to blitz Jaden Daniels. But he's actually been fantastic against the blitz, which
Yeah.
is tough because he's run the
He's
most against the.
slippery.
Yeah,
He's
exactly. He
slippery.
runs well against the blitz, but he also passes well against the blitz. But at the same time, I don't think they can just afford to play slow death against that offense, right? But on the other hand, Washington's defense has not been great against. In fact, they've been very bad against the run pretty much all year long. And Detroit has a very good balanced offense. They can run the ball and they can pass the ball, and it's kind of pick your poison.
Right.
Washington will probably have to put more people in the box from the secondary to try to stop the run. And if they do that, Detroit will just be happy to go over the top and throw the ball. So they're very
Well,
capable.
and Detroit, isn't that other running back is coming back, Montgomery. So they're going to have their two like
Right.
really good running backs, and of course
Right.
we know they have a great wide receiver, and Goff is having a heck of a year. So yeah, they're going to be tough to stop.
And this has the potential to be a high scoring shootout because they both score in bunches.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be an exciting game. However, I'm taking the Lions.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I just, I mean, again, we could have won that game had a few things gone our way. So while yes, Jaden Daniels is absolutely outstanding, and the
Yeah.
team has made tremendous progress, I do think that maybe last week that victory was their victory. Sometimes like it just get there and you win that, and they're going to be a little bit. The Lions for sure will be geared up, ready to go, because this is where they they've wanted. They're so hungry for this. They're so hungry for this in Detroit.
Yeah, it hasn't been like they haven't had success over the last few years. Now they're in the playoffs. They've seen the playoffs. They know what the
Yes.
intensity is like. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then moving on to Chiefs Texans. The Texans struggled over the last kind of month of the season, I'll call it.
I'm just gonna tell you, I'm the biggest Texan fan right now. I like please, Texans, get it together.
I think there's a lot of people rooting for the Texans because everyone's so tired of the Chiefs and
So tired.
Kelsey, but it seemed like they got the ship righted last week. They had an explosive offensive game against the Chargers, and I want to say part of it may be, about a month ago is when Tank Dell went down. A month or
Hmm.
so ago, I can't exactly remember, and so missing him, missing the other receiver. His name escapes me right now. And now they're a month out. Maybe they're just kind of getting used to managing the offense without that. And CJ Stroud, again, he showed how talented he was last year again, he regressed in this second year because,
Mhm.
again, teams have a lot of tape on you now and they can kind of game plan it.
Right.
But last week, like I said, everything was clicking on all cylinders. The Chiefs, look, for the Texans to win, I believe they were fourth in the league in terms of sacks, and that front four is going to have to play very well and get after what is not really a great offensive line. The Chiefs' offensive line is average at best,
Mhm.
and so they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on Mahomes. But Mahomes is kind of an eraser, right? He can erase mistakes with his legs, with his arm. He'll throw it crazy, wild, different angles to get the ball out. So while sometimes you don't have to get the sack, sometimes just the pressure, making him move, an errant throw here, errant throw here, there. Maybe they can get lucky, a turnover or two. That's going to have to be kind of what they do. And the Chiefs, look, they played earlier in the year. The Chiefs won by, it was only a one score game, but the Chiefs has won a lot of games by one score this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and we talked about that a lot. But,
yeah,
Vaughn, I have to wonder, it's been 24 days since the starters have played for the Chiefs.
mm-hmm.
I feel like, I mean, yes, it gives them a chance to get healthy, of course, but to me that's a little bit of a momentum slower, And then Houston just came off this momentum builder. One of my
True.
favorite things about that Houston game was that 99-yard drive that started with the almost sack of CJ Stroud. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you remember that play, but I mean, that was an incredible drive, and that really gave them a lot of energy. Um, I don't know. I still think the Chiefs are beatable. God, I hope so.
Well, that's the thing. I think they've been beatable all year, but they find a way to win. And I happen to subscribe to the fact that winning close games is a skill just because if you're down by 20 or up by 20, I might have mentioned it before, there's no pressure on you as a player. You really can just go out and play. But when it's tight and it's on the line, oh, the play's coming over me, then if you're not used to being in those situations, then you can tighten up and not play very well. So the Chiefs are used to the pressure. Mahomes, like I said, erases a lot of mistakes, and he's going to be excellent. But I think the Chiefs win it.
I don't want to say it out
I know it's not
loud.
what you want to hear, but
I know, and in my gut, I would say that they're going to win it because my original Super Bowl pick was the Bucks and the Chiefs. So I agree with you, but I'm going to be super happy if we're wrong.
right, right. I get that. That makes sense. Uh,
Next game.
Rams Eagles, and so this one should be good.
Interesting.
the Ram the
Interesting.
Rams have been kind of middle of the pack all year long, and then I look up and I'm like, oh gosh, they made the playoffs. I thought they were going to be out, and they make the playoffs. And they have just an excellent defensive effort last week.
No kidding.
Eight
Wow.
sacks, just
It
really
was
got after
amazing.
Darnold. I think
They
Darnold.
were
Look,
terrifying.
well, I don't know if you'll remember years ago when Darnold, maybe it was his rookie or second year, they're playing when he was with the Jets, and they're playing the Patriots, and they have him on the sideline talking about how he's seeing ghosts. Well, I don't know if you saw his face, a lot of those close-ups, it looked like he was seeing ghosts again, right? And that clip will always live forever. I was talking with my buddy Dave Chow about it. Look, a lot of those sacks were on him. He just was not letting the ball go and not
Yeah.
being very decisive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And uh,
But
so,
Vaughn, I also felt like the O line was not strong
no, they
during
definitely
that
had their
game.
moments. I'm just saying the
Yeah.
8 sacks weren't just because the Rams were so overwhelming.
Right, right,
Look,
right, right.
they have a good up and coming young defense with a lot of players who probably aren't household names,
Jared Verse,
but
Florida
maybe in a
State.
couple of years they will
Ho,
be because
ho.
yeah, they can. I mean, they're young, they're healthy. The Rams stars are all on offense: Puka Nakua, Cooper Cup, Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
Look, they haven't been world beaters like maybe they were a couple of years ago. Actually, Puka wasn't around then, but back when they won their Super Bowl a few years ago. But they've been adequate, put it that way, and. But they're running to an Eagles team that is extremely physical on both sides of the ball. Everything with them offensively starts with Saquon Barkley. They've got two studs at the receivers in Smith and oh geez, I can never remember
Brown.
that. Yeah, exactly. But their passing offense is kind of it hasn't
Not
necessarily
very
been in
good.
sync, right? Well, I'll be nice to say it hasn't been in sync, but they are capable. And like I said, they kind of let Saquon and that great. They have a fantastic offensive line, kind of set the pace.
Yeah.
And if you looked at last week, the Packers were dropping like flies left and right,
Yes,
and so
they
and
were.
it wasn't because they're not tough. It's just because the Eagles were tougher and more physical and wanted it more, and so that's what the Rams are up against. And sometimes people feel like, oh, with this roster, they should win. Well, you need to only win by one. And I think, all things being said, the Eagles will win. I just
You know,
think
it's
they're
interesting that the offensive line, you know, the center for the Eagles, the guy who took over for Jason
Kelsey.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
is going to the Pro Bowl. How crazy is that? You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
everyone thought that was going to be like a big weak spot for them as this
Yeah.
guy gets going, but no,
No,
hasn't
they
been.
look over the years. They've done recent years. They've done a great job of replacing their aging offensive line guys and not missing a beat. Like they really get after it up front.
Well, so I know you're picking the Eagles,
Yes.
and I'm gonna go for an upset here, and I'm gonna pick the Rams.
Okay.
I just feel like that was like quite a performance, and I really because Florida State, where Elizabeth went, Jared Verse. First of all, how can he be a rookie? He looks like he's 40. I'm just saying, in a good way. I mean,
Right.
very handsome 40, but hard to
Right.
believe that the guy's a rookie. But I know he is because watched him at FSU last year. But I just think there might be a little, and I'm not happy to say this because it does not make me happy, McVay magic
Yep.
in there.
Yep.
There is something about that guy that is kind of annoying when you're a Bucks fan and you lose to them in the final minutes of a championship game, but it
I mean,
happens.
I won't be shocked if the Rams win. Put it that way. I think and that's kind of like sometimes as a game plan, you just want to hang around till the fourth quarter and then kind of steal the game. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what the Rams have done all year. They've kind of hung around, and we were had a losing record, and then we were 500, and then we were kind of we weren't 15-2, but we were 10-7, and we qualified for the tournament. And so yeah, they definitely have some momentum, and they got to feel good about how they played. And,
Yeah.
and so yeah, again I'm picking the Eagles. Don't get me wrong, but if the Rams won, I wouldn't be completely surprised.
Well, and
And
now the game of the week, the
right,
game of the life, the game of everything.
and before that, I will say over the last 10 years in the divisional round, the home teams are 29-11, and so
Whoa.
obviously that's about an upset per in terms of home team. The visitor has won about once every year, and so I guess I'm giving it up before I give the commentary, but I'm picking the Ravens. This is going to be my upset. But look, two quarterbacks playing at MVP level, both are absolutely on fire, and I kind of think they'll negate each other to a certain degree. Now I'm excited because a couple weeks ago, my fave was looking forward to these two playing different teams. But hey, who's gonna in terms of the MVP? Who's gonna step up? How is the other one gonna react? Well, now they're on the same fields, and while they're not playing against each other, they're playing against the defenses. It'll still be an exciting game. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah.
both of them are going to play out of their minds.
Yeah.
Uh, Josh Allen is great. He can improvise. He's third. If there's third and medium, meaning 3rd and 5 or less, look for him to keep the ball or at least have the ball in his hand with maybe some run pass option, but look for him to run. The Ravens over the last I'll just say several games, their defense has been on fire. They've been playing
On
really
fire.
well. Yes,
Yes.
yes, they've been playing
Yes.
really well, and I tend to think that's kind of why. Again, I'm going with history, but I'm also going with I think their defense is going to play better than the Bills' defense, and Lamar Jackson seems to have. It used to be like Tom Brady it's not like he's improvising so much as now he's kind of got the answers to the test, and it's kind of reminded me back in the day. It didn't matter
Mhm.
what you did, Brady always had the answer to the test. He
Yeah.
knew what you were going to do, whether you're going to disguise it. He knew what you're going to get to, and it seems like he's playing like that. He's got over 40 touchdowns with less than 5 interceptions, so he's playing
Yeah.
out of his mind,
Out
and his
of his
legs are
mind.
so deadly. And
It must
I,
be that all diamond grill. When he
right.
smiled the other night and I texted you guys, did you see that? Like,
Well, look good, feel good, play good, right? So,
well, I'm
uh,
with you. I totally think the Ravens are going to win it, but I hope it's going to be an incredible game. I can't imagine how it couldn't be.
yeah.
I think it's for sure the game of the playoffs. Like, exciting.
And of course, Derrick Henry, right?
Oh, yeah.
Derrick Henry is just an absolute beast back there. Just, and it's so crazy because I think a lot of people, because they give you his stats about how big he is, but I think it would surprise you to see him in person and literally see how big that man is, and to be. I mean, he can take it the distance from anywhere on the field at
Oh,
any given
yes.
play, and he's just. I know everyone probably saw the clips of him just mashing people's faces with the stiff arm. Just
Yep.
it's just unfair on a certain certain level.
It is a little unfair.
And here's the thing: he's in his ninth year, and so typically running backs, because of the demands of the position,
Yeah.
usually start wearing down around year 7, 8, and 9, even if they're elite. And he just doesn't seem to stop going. He just
Well, don't you think part of it is, he's on now this kind of magical team. Like his last couple years in Tennessee,
yeah,
terrible,
yeah,
but now I mean, I have to imagine that John Harbaugh is just a wonderful coach to work with. He seems to be, and then he's got this exceptional quarterback and just this whole Ravens vibe that
yes,
I
culture,
mean, it's yeah, and it's revitalized him. And then, of course, you read about his like talk about Tom Brady and all his crazy diet. Derrick Henry has a similar
yes.
diet and the way he cares for his body. I mean, he's keeping himself tip top.
To the point he wouldn't touch that
That
awful
horrible
Netflix
cake.
cake.
So I in my head agree with all of your picks.
Okay,
But, I'm just gonna kinda hope for a couple of more upsets.
right, right.
But it's always an exciting week of football, so I'm looking forward to it, even though now I guess, there's something to be said for your team not being in it because you can just enjoy the games
Yeah,
without, like,
you're not living
weeping.
on every play.
But, so yeah, next week we'll see how we do. So or how it all plays out.
Yes, yes.
Um